And so it is that you can look forward and say, and there will be another barren season when the evidence of the eyes will testify to death, to barrenness, to lack. But now I have learned my lessons, and I realize there is a rhythm of God. There is a rhythm of God. And all we have to do is abide in patience, abide in this word. The law of God, which is a law of love, is operating. And in due season, fruitage will appear. And because it is universal, it will appear in my experience and your experience. And this, you see, is a spiritual meditation, a powerful meditation, and one that will bear fruit richly in the experience of all of us. You have not asked anything of God. You have not expected God to go out of his way to do something of a personal nature. You have contemplated the is of God, that which God is. You have contemplated omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience. And in this contemplation, you are in a meditation. And you will find that such meditations lead you even deeper within yourself until it will eventually turn into an actual communion. And in this communion, you will feel the presence of God as love flowing to you, within you. And you'll feel a love flowing from you to God, as if there were two of you. There really is only one. It is the inner self and the outer self in communion, two parts of one self. And so it is that these meditations now are showing forth the fruitage of your years of study and contemplation. And it is from this that our greater works will come, because you will find that the outer picture is but the reflected activity of the state of your inner consciousness. And while you are sowing to the Spirit in this way, you are reaping spiritual grace. And now that brings us to this first question. When contact within is truly made, shouldn't one expect that to appear in improvement, better health, morals, government, at every level of consciousness, in the way it can be understood in the awakening of human consciousness? Indeed, yes. As a matter of fact, that is the entire purpose of following a message of this kind, that you are not to seek things, you are not to seek in the outer world for improvement. You are to seek only the attainment of a spiritual state of consciousness. You are to rise into that state of consciousness that recognizes one power, recognizes all mankind as being really the divine Son of God in their real being. And as you rise to that level of consciousness, it naturally outpictures itself in the form of health, harmony, wholeness, completeness, perfection, in every way necessary to our everyday experience. There is, however, this to be said, that in our actual experience, the outer picture does not always change as rapidly as we believe that our consciousness is changing. In other words, because we intellectually accept the fact that God is the only power, does not mean that instantly error will lose all of its seeming power, because we have not yet attained that consciousness. And therefore, something of this nature takes place. Whereas there may be changes within us of one nature or another, there may be great changes within us. Somehow, there seems to be in one or more directions a lack of conforming to what we believe to be the state of our consciousness. And let me illustrate that. I have given this to many classes, but the illustration fits in here. After my own experience of my first illumination, my entire life changed. The past was dead, and a whole new life began. But on one particular point, my demonstration yielded slowly. At times it looked as if it weren't going to yield at all, and that was on the subject of supply. Supply gave me my hardest battle and longest one. And I had many ups and downs. I had the supply problem met once when it seemed to me that I was firm in the conviction that because I was in God's work, that God was meeting my daily need. And for a while that seemed to be so. And then all of a sudden the picture changed and the need was not being met promptly or abundantly. And then a second unfoldment of supply came. And this one carried me forward for quite a while. And it was more along the line of God's presence. And then again it fell away. And it just seemed as if supply was one of those things that was not going to manifest in my life. But there came a third revelation. And with that third revelation, the entire situation broke. It changed and remained permanent. And this time, it was a revelation which really is the foundation of the message of the infinite way. It is the reason there is an infinite way. Because without this revelation, there would have been no major principle on which this work could be based. And this revelation had to do with the word I. Now you see, up to that moment, I meant Joel. And Joel meant he had to have food and clothing and housing. And that meant it had to come from somewhere. And since he was in the spiritual healing work, naturally it should come from patience or from students or from gratitude. But you see, that was all wrong as a spiritual picture. And in this final revelation, it dawned, light came, that I isn't Joel, I is God. I is infinite divine being. I is the offspring of God or Christ of God. But I and God are really one, not two. And all that God is, I am, and all that the Father hath is mine. And now it's a sin to have to earn a living. It's a sin to expect someone to give me a living. Why? Because I can heal the multitudes, I can feed the multitudes, therefore I have an infinity of supply. And my error has been in the sense of separation that set up a Joel being who had to be fed, clothed, and housed, whereas I, being one with God, all that the Father hath is mine, and I am not dependent on man whose breath is in his nostril, even if he likes me. I am not dependent on man whose breath is in his nostril, even if he's grateful. I and my Father are one, and my only dependence is not on God, but on my relationship to God. The fact that I and my Father are one.